Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is Marty 4 here once again. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar 4 here once again, and after such a long time, I have not sat here and tried to talk about an episode of Love and Hip Hop, period. Not even just the franchise. I mean, not even just any particular city, but the franchise, period. Because I have been so burnt out on the show. Like, I had done Atlanta for like 5 seasons. I did the first couple seasons of Hollywood, the first season of Miami, and I didn't even care about New York. And so I just needed a break. And so after I did a couple of episodes of last season, and it was alright, but now I feel refreshed. It's been such a long time since I sat and done like a real review with you guys. Now, be that as it may, we're not going to do it the same way we used to do before. Because before we used to do like the play-by-play, scene by scene, what happened. We're not doing that this time. Because a lot of times there's so much stuff that you don't really care about. There's a lot of things that don't really care about and you can't really go too far into depth with anyway. So what I'm going to do is, the beginning of the reviews, I'm just going to do like a quick lightning round. Maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 things that are like mild stuff that I kind of want to touch on really quick, and then save the more in-depth stuff for the latter part of the review, which will cut a lot of these reviews much shorter. And of course it depends on what the episode gives me. So this is the season, I believe, 6 review, episode 1 of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in. So the first topic of our lightning round is going to be Miss K. Michelle. Now, K. Michelle last year spent most of her time on the show talking about how she got through her surgeries, the different things going on with her body, and how she's trying to improve her health. And she looks amazing now. Like, her body looks so much more proportioned. She just looks even more beautiful than she did before. So congratulations to K. Michelle. And she mentions how this upcoming record that she's recording is going to be her very last R&B album. Now, K. Michelle's given us some great music. I actually thought that her last album, The People I Used to Know, was actually really good. I wish that she was able to push it more, because there was a lot more single-worthy songs on that album than was given credit. But she's going to do one more R&B album, and she's going to finally do this country album that she says that she wants to do. Now, as much as I do love and respect K. Michelle for her artwork and her artistry overall, that stunt that she pulled in Nashville, no ma'am. No ma'am, that was a lot. She said, you know, I can out-sing any other white bitch out here in Nashville or in country music. I understand where you're coming from, baby, but that was not the way to do it. That's not the way to introduce yourself to this country audience. Good luck to K. Michelle for her endeavors in music and country. I'll be waiting to hear the music. I don't know how it's going to sound. She's dabbled in it here and there on her past records, but I'll have to see how it sounds in full. But God bless her. She's also getting this surrogate ready for these twins, okay? Now, she's been talking about getting these twins for like the past 2 or 3 seasons, to be honest. I don't think she's with that man anymore that she first started talking about it with. When she first opened the Puff and Pedals restaurant, I don't believe she's with him anymore, because we haven't seen him, but she hasn't said that she's not either. And now that she's picked this surrogate, who gonna be the daddy? Who gonna be the sperm donor? She hasn't specified these things, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll just wait and see. This next lightning round topic is probably one of the most cringy scenes I think I've seen in a Love and Hip Hop episode in quite some time. And that was this whole BDSM, bondage, dominance, sadomasochism scene with Princess and Ray J in this dungeon. I'm like, I get it. They're first-time parents. They've been, I believe the baby, I don't remember if the baby's a year old, but she's about between 8 months to a year old. And a lot of times people will say that when you're a first-time parent, you know, you spend so much time and energy focusing on being a parent that you no longer have a sex life, or your sex life is vastly affected by your parenting. So they from what I can see, are doing great jobs as parents. They have all their setups. They're giving, they're giving each other time so the other can rest. But when you're devoting so much energy to that, it's hard to kind of find time to be husband and wife instead of just mom and dad. So Princess got the idea to try to spice things up with bondage, chains, and whips. And what makes this scene so funny is like she's trying to be commanding and telling Ray J to put this mask on, take your pants off, take off your clothes, all this stuff, and it's just, it is so unbelievable and just cringeworthy. And then when Ray J does take his clothes off, I swear, the last I recall, mind you, this has been a while ago since we really tried to see Ray J with no clothes on, but I thought he was, fit. That was not the case on tonight's episode. Ray J took them clothes off and he looked like a little fat kitty. He is chunky, okay? And I mean, relationship weight. But that whole scene, they really could have got rid of that. It was just semi-uncomfortable and I just could not. I could not. Okay, so the two meaty topics, or the main topics of the episode that we're going to talk about is Lyrica and A1's issues, and everything that's spiraling from this April and Fizz situation. Okay, I'm gonna get Lyrica and A1 out the way. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, didn't they say they weren't going to come on the next season? I could have sworn I heard Lyrica say she was done with the show, but then turned around, here we are again, rehashing the same issue with the same dude over the same stuff. Like, A1 and Lyrica being together makes as much sense as Kurt and Rashida in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Now, I haven't seen Love and Hip Hop Atlanta since they kicked Jocelyn off because it's boring. And I don't know if they're still together or not, but if they are, what's the point? Because every season, they have the same issues. Women, cheating, communication. And it's just like, how many times are we going to kill this dead horse before y'all just decide to break up? We saw what happened last year with the Safari situation. And that was funny. And as horrible as it was comical to watch on TV. It was. And now this year, Lyrica's taking 10-day trips, not telling nobody. She's just having this overall feeling of she doesn't know how to feel about A1. But at the same time, Jason Lee is one of those types of people that I personally cannot stand. I understand there's this business of reporting news and whatnot, but to me, I still feel like there's a tasteful way to do it and just a way to still manage relationships. And a good example of that, Denver and B. Scott over at the lovebscott.com with their podcast and their website, they run stories, and of course, every now and then people don't like them, but I feel like they never put out anything malicious in order to just spill tea on somebody or ruin somebody and get joyness out of that. I just feel like Jason gets a kick out of stories that publicly embarrass people. It's not even like a let me report the news because this is something relevant that's happening that people care about. I feel like it's, ooh, what shocking headline can I get clicks to my website? He's that kind of person. And that just always rubs me the wrong way. And so when he's brought upon this story of this girl named, what was her name? Summer Bunny. Summer Bunny is making these claims that she and A1 are sleeping together, they messed around and blah, blah, blah. Now, if you paid attention, I saw that when Jason was bringing these things up, A1 had that face. A1 gave that face to every dude that when he's about to lie and when somebody says something to him that he knows is true, that he has to make it seem like it's a lie, has kind of like that, what you talking about? Like, I don't even know, like, what are you talking about? And so he's trying to give this face, but then at the same time he says, well, yeah, I know who Summer Bunny is. Like, what's up? And I'm like, okay, well, do you know her? Like, are y'all screwing together? Like, what's really going on? And it felt like Jason was trying to give him the chance to tell him the truth. But A1, of course, being a man, was not going to do that. And so he had to pull out the receipt that someone, or this young lady, had somebody recording her phone call, or her FaceTime call, mind you, with you. And you are clearly seen on the other end of that line flirting, talking about you acting funny, like, is you gonna call me up? When you leave the studio, like, where you at? Like, all of this suggestive language. And now A1 is sitting there looking like, who did it and why, with the stank face, knowing he's been caught. And instead of trying to admit wrongdoing or just taking responsibility in general, he immediately gets on the defense on Jason. Is like, look, you can't be the one to put this story out and blah blah blah, basically threatening him. And I guess because they're friends, he's saying, oh well, I won't put the story out and I'll give you some time to talk to your wife. A1, if you knew anything about Jason Lee or just his type of people, you should have known that he was going to release that story within the next 24 hours of this conversation. He's the one of those people that likes to be the first one to break stuff. You were screwed from the beginning. So anyway, Lyrica comes back from this vacation. And she says it's a bittersweet because, of course, she wants to see her son. Now, did they name, I could have missed this because I was waiting for them to reference this baby again. I don't know if they gave the baby name last year and I just didn't miss it or didn't care. I'm not sure. But is this baby's name Ocean? Did they name their baby boy Ocean? Whatever. Their baby, not mine. So, of course, she's happy to see her son Ocean. But it looks like she's not so happy to see A1 because of all the stress that they go through and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, again, why are y'all together if y'all are just y'all drive each other crazy over the same stuff? Y'all can't keep having these sessions, these same issues every time. It gets repetitive and it's like, what are we here for? What are we here for? So now she finally says, oh, I'm starting to entertain the idea of leaving A1. And I'm like, girl, finally. Because really, if you ask me, I believe that everything that Lyrica was accused of last year was true as far as with Safari. I don't know if they did a DNA test on that baby. I mean, let's be real. It's a very high possibility. Let's just be real about it. And so, I don't know if A1's just accepting that or if they've done the, DNA test off camera. Be that as it may, I believe that she did her dirt, and clearly we can see that you out here taking pictures, FaceTiming other women as well. So they have this whole spat, and A1 had made these promises to T-Pain to do these shows for this tour or whatever, and so he leaves the house and he's gone. Lyrica comes back from staying with her mom and I guess asking, like, where are you at? Aren't you supposed to be at the crib? And he's like, oh, well, I went on tour and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, why didn't you tell me that you were going to leave? And then he's like, well, you didn't tell me when you left for Atlanta or wherever it was that she went. And she's like, oh, wow, so you're going to be really petty and blah, blah, blah. And of course, they go back and forth on some, petty bullshit. I'm like, oh, girl, we've seen this already, child. And then what was crazy is that she smashed her own phone. I'm like, girl, who does that hurt but you? You have to pay for that. It was like, you could have just easily set that thing down and hit a pillow, but now you threw it on the phone for what? Girl. And we're going to see, of course, we're going to get into who Summer Bunny is. We're going to hear what she has to say about this whole ordeal. And it's just going to be a hot mess. It's really just going to be a hot mess. But I'm ready for it because it did look kind of interesting in the preview for the season. Now, lastly, is everything that's spiraling from this Moniece and April situation. I saw this story and I'm just like, Lord have mercy. Jesus help us. Now, I'm gonna try not to make this as long as I thought it was, but I feel like situations like this boil down to, it all depends on the nature of the relationship between the two people who are friends and how they feel about, one dating the other person's ex. And from the way that Little Fizz has been talking about how it's been being on this B2K tour, how it's been just being friends with the other members of the group, period. Like him and Omarion were kind of cool, like 5-6 years ago, but apparently when that single came out, that Supposed to Be song, he kind of went ghost again and I guess was riding high on the success of that song, which is crazy because the only reason that people even know about that song is because of Jhené Aiko's Eating the Booty Like Groceries line. Like, people don't even really realize that that's your song, or that Chris Brown is on it. Like, two of the supposedly bigger names on the song don't even make the song. People don't even remember the song because of y'all. But apparently Omarion and April's relationship got real rocky after the birth of their daughter. She said about maybe a couple of months afterwards, he just left and didn't say anything else to her. Little Fizz explained how he tried to reach out to Omarion many times and didn't get anything back. And my thing is, I'm all about reciprocity. Like, if I'm constantly reaching out over and over again and seeing that I'm constantly being ignored, I can't continue to keep a person in such high regard, especially of their feelings, if I've tried continuously to reach out to you and talk to you. Because typically, if someone dates your ex, okay? If someone dates your ex and you're blindsided by it, and you didn't know about it, you're gonna feel some type of way because you're gonna be like, well, why didn't you talk to me? This isn't the case here because Little Fizz could have probably been reaching out to discuss, what's been going on with their relationship, or just anything referring this whole situation, but he never responded. So for him to be shady like this for years, I don't see how Little Fizz has any reason or responsibility to Omarion's feelings with this situation, because he doesn't talk to him. Well, hopefully Omarion comes and shows up on this season to give his side of the story, because I would hate for this to be one-sided. You never know who your soulmate could be. And just because you dated my friend in the past doesn't mean that we couldn't date. Now, of course, it's always better to, mention this to a friend, like, hey, do you mind? Or, hey, I want to let you know what's going on. But if the other person is already in a full-blown relationship with somebody else, I don't see what the problem is, dating their ex. That's just me. Moniece going and feeling some type of way about doing whatever. Moniece just seems like she claims Drew. Like, she's supposed to be able to manipulate every single part of Little Fizz's life, mainly because of the fact that she had a baby by him. Like, you'll always hear her mention, this is my baby daddy, can't nobody tell me about my baby daddy. All he is the person that helped you procreate a child. Because you procreated this child does not give you the rights to dictate who he's dating. Like, I remember last year when he was dating that girl that was her ex's best friend. That was a whole hot mess. And she just kept trying to regulate who is around her child. Like, she tries to use the child as buffer to manipulate Fizz a lot of times, and it's kind of strange. I never understand why she gets so emotional. She plays it off like it's a respect thing. Like, she respects him. Nobody's able to talk about him in her presence, but he lets people talk about her like a dog as far as her parenting goes. And of course, we don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. We don't really know what goes on. But it just seems like, as a viewer, I have a hard time understanding where Moniece comes from with this whole manipulation thing. I'm sure there's more to it, but from what she's giving us, I'm not understanding. And this whole should April be allowed to sleep with Fizz? I mean, they're both grown. They're consenting adults. Omarion broke up with her, left her with a child, and doesn't talk to Fizz, so neither one of them really owe him any regard, to be completely honest with you. But that's just my take on it. That was the first episode. They showed Moniece and April having this confrontation, but that didn't really go anywhere. Maybe it'll go into next week, but it really didn't go anywhere for me. But I am so excited to finally be back making videos, you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new here. My name is Jamar Washington, Jamar84 on across all the platforms. Share if you're not already subscribed. I hope you decide to subscribe, like the video, comment. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Let me know what you think about any of the topics that were discussed in this review. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Jamar Washington.